My sister inherited everything. The house, the savings, even Mom's jewelry. I got a letter that said, "Thank you for your service." 3 days later, I discovered why. Turns out, loyalty doesn't pay when you're too busy changing bedpans to notice you're being erased. I should have known something was wrong when Vanessa showed up to the funeral in designer black. Real grief doesn't accessorize that well. The lawyer's office smelled like old paper and expensive lies. Mr. Caldwell adjusted his glasses and slid the document across the mahogany desk. His voice was professionally sympathetic, the kind that costs $400 an hour. "Your mother's will is quite clear, Miss Porter. The estate, valued at approximately $890,000, goes entirely to your sister, Vanessa Montgomery. There's a personal note addressed to you." My hands didn't shake when I opened it. They should have. "Dear Natalie, you've always been so capable, so independent. You don't need help the way Vanessa does. She has the children, the struggles. You understand, don't you? Thank you for everything. Love, Mom. Thank you for everything. 6 years of everything. 6 years of quitting my job to move back home. 6 years of pill schedules, doctor appointments, adult diapers, and midnight crises. 6 years of watching my mother fade while my sister sent flowers once a month and called every Sunday when it was convenient." "There must be a mistake," I said quietly. Mr. Caldwell's face said there wasn't. "The will was updated 8 months ago. Your mother was of sound mind. 2 witnesses confirmed it 8 months ago. Mom was still coherent then. Still herself mostly. Still capable of choosing who mattered. I drove home on autopilot, my mind stuck on loop. The apartment I'd sublet was temporary. I'd planned to find something permanent after. After Mom recovered, which she didn't. After the estate was settled, which it now was. After I figured out what 6 years of sacrifice had earned me, a thank you note. That's what 6 years bought. The next morning, I called Vanessa. She answered bright and breezy like we were friends catching up. "Nat, I was just thinking about you. How are you holding up?" I saw the will. A pause, then careful concern. "Oh, yeah, that must have been..." Mom made her choice. Her choice? "Vanessa, I gave up everything. You chose to be there," she said, softer now. "Nobody forced you. And honestly, Mom knew I needed it more. The twins' tuition, Marcus's business debts. You're single, Nat. No kids, no responsibilities. You'll be fine. You'll be fine." The family motto for why I never got help, never got acknowledged, never got anything but expectations. "I'm not fine, Vanessa. I have $3,000 in savings and no job." "Well, that's not really my problem, is it?" Her voice had shifted. Less sister, more stranger. "Look, I didn't write the will. Take it up with Mom's ghost if you're upset." She hung up. I sat there staring at my phone, wondering when exactly my sister had become someone I didn't recognize. Then I remembered she'd always been this person. I just hadn't been desperate enough to notice. That night I couldn't sleep. The apartment was too quiet, too temporary, too much like standing on the edge of something with no idea how far down it went. My mind kept circling back to 8 months ago. 8 months ago, Mom was still walking, still talking in full sentences, still capable of understanding what a will meant. But there was something else about 8 months ago, something nagging at my memory like a splinter. I pulled out my phone and scrolled through old photos. There it was, a picture I'd taken without thinking, just documenting another day. Mom asleep in her chair, Vanessa sitting beside her, papers spread across the coffee table. My stomach tightened. I zoomed in. Legal documents. I could just make out the letterhead. Caldwell and Associates, Vanessa had been there. During one of her rare visits, she'd brought paperwork. The next morning, I called Mom's doctor. Dr. Patel had been managing her care for 3 years. We knew each other well. "Natalie, I'm so sorry for your loss," she said when she picked up. "Your mother was lucky to have you. Lucky." That word felt hollow now. "Dr. Patel, I need to ask you something. 8 months ago, what was Mom's mental state?" A pause. "May I ask why?" "The will. She changed it then. I need to know if she was capable of understanding what she was doing." Another pause, longer this time. "Natalie, 8 months ago your mother was in early-stage dementia. We discussed it with you. Memory issues, confusion, difficulty with complex decisions. I wouldn't have considered her capable of handling legal documents without support. The world tilted. You told me that? Yes, in August. You brought her in for the evaluation. August. 8 months ago, when Vanessa happened to visit with paperwork. If someone had her sign legal documents, then would that be valid? Dr. Patel's voice turned careful. That would depend on many factors. But if you're asking whether I'd testify that she had capacity for complex legal decisions at that time, the answer is no. I thanked her and hung up. Then I sat very still, feeling something cold and sharp settle into my chest. Vanessa hadn't just inherited everything. She'd stolen it. The lawyer I found wasn't Mr. Caldwell. I specifically wanted someone who didn't speak in polite euphemisms. Rachel Chen's office was smaller, cheaper, and brutally honest. You think your sister coerced your mother? She asked after I'd explained everything. I think my mother wasn't capable of making that decision. I have medical records proving dementia. I have evidence my sister was alone with her when the will was signed. Rachel leaned back, studying me. This is going to get ugly. Family law always does. Are you prepared for that? I thought about 6 years of bedpans and midnight panic attacks. 6 years of putting my life on hold while Vanessa sent flower arrangements and congratulated herself on caring from a distance. I'm prepared. Good. We'll need the medical records, witness statements, anything showing your mother's mental decline. We'll challenge the will on grounds of undue influence and lack of capacity. She paused. One more thing. If we prove fraud, your sister could face criminal charges. Not just losing the inheritance. Actual jail time. Is that what you want? I looked out the window at the gray city streets. Somewhere out there, Vanessa was probably shopping with Mom's money, living in Mom's house, wearing Mom's pearls. I want the truth, I said. Whatever that costs. The lawsuit hit Vanessa like a freight train. I know because my cousin texted me a screenshot of her Facebook post. Can't believe some people. After everything I've done for this family, my sister is suing me over Mom's will. Grief makes people cruel, I guess. Prayers needed. The comments were predictably supportive. Nobody knew I'd been there every single day while Vanessa collected sympathy from a distance. She called 2 days after she was served. Her voice was ice. You're actually doing this. You committed fraud, Vanessa. I did what Mom wanted. Mom had dementia. She couldn't even remember my name half the time. But somehow she clearly wanted to disinherit the daughter who sacrificed everything? You're bitter because you made bad choices, Vanessa snapped. Nobody told you to give up your life. You chose martyr over having an actual career. Don't punish me because you're miserable. Something in me cracked. Not broke, just shifted into place. See you in court, I said, and hung up before she could respond. Discovery was brutal. Rachel subpoenaed everything. Medical records, financial statements, visitor logs from the care facility, emails, text messages. Every piece of the last 6 years laid bare under fluorescent lights and legal scrutiny. The pattern emerged like invisible ink under heat. Every time Vanessa visited, Mom's finances shifted. Small transfers at first. $500 here, $1,000 there. Always with Mom's signature, always when I was running errands or taking rare breaks. Then came the bigger moves. The house deed transferred to a trust with Vanessa as trustee. Bank accounts consolidated with her name added. Life insurance beneficiary changed, all of it happening while Mom forgot what day it was. While she called me by her sister's name, while she needed help brushing her teeth. This is textbook elder abuse, Rachel said, spreading the documents across her desk. Financial exploitation of a vulnerable adult. The medical records prove she lacked capacity. The timing proves your sister took advantage. Can we win? Win? Rachel smiled, sharp and certain. Natalie, we're going to destroy her. The deposition was held in a conference room that smelled like fear and cheap coffee. Vanessa arrived with her own lawyer, an expensive suit named Bernard who spoke in calculated pauses. I sat across from her for the first time since the funeral. She looked perfect. Hair salon smooth, nails manicured, outfit carefully chosen to project wounded dignity. Rachel started gently. Mrs. Montgomery, How often did you visit your mother during her final years? As often as I could. I have children, responsibilities. Let's be specific. According to visitor logs, you visited 18 times in 6 years. Does that sound accurate? Vanessa's jaw tightened. I stayed in touch by phone. Phone records show an average of 1 call per month, lasting approximately 8 minutes. Would you characterize that as attentive care? I did what I could. Rachel slid a document across the table. This is a transfer authorization moving $50,000 from your mother's savings to your personal account. Dated August 12th. The same day, Dr. Patel's notes indicate your mother didn't recognize her own address. Can you explain? Mom wanted to help with the twins' education. Did she tell you that? Vanessa hesitated. We discussed it. Did she understand what she was signing? Of course. Then why did she sign her name as Margaret Wilson, your mother's maiden name, which she'd only use if she was confused about what year it was? The silence in the room felt like pressure change before a storm. Bernard intervened. My client isn't on trial here. Actually, Rachel said pleasantly, she might be. Elder fraud is a criminal offense in this state. Vanessa's face went pale. I didn't do anything wrong. You isolated a dementia patient, forged or coerced her signature on multiple legal documents, and systematically drained her assets while your sister provided full-time care. In some jurisdictions, that's called theft. In others, it's called elder abuse. I want a break, Bernard said quickly. During the break, I stood in the hallway trying to breathe normally. 6 years of exhaustion and resentment were catching up all at once, making my hands shake and my vision blur. Vanessa emerged from a different conference room. For a moment, we just looked at each other. You're really going to ruin me over this, she said. You ruined yourself. I'm just refusing to be erased. She was my mother too. Then where were you? The words came out raw. Where were you when she forgot how to swallow? When she cried for her mother who'd been dead 40 years? When she didn't know who I was but still held my hand because she knew she was supposed to love me? Vanessa's eyes filled. For a second, I thought it was real. Then she blinked and the tears disappeared, controlled and calculated. You think you're the hero here, she said, but you're just jealous because she chose me. She didn't choose anything. You stole her voice when she couldn't speak for herself. Vanessa turned and walked away, heels clicking finality on tile floor. The trial took 3 weeks. The courtroom smelled like furniture polish and lost causes. Vanessa's lawyers argued that Mom had good days and bad days, that the will reflected her true wishes, that I was a disgruntled sibling seeking revenge. Rachel countered with medical experts, financial forensics, and timeline after timeline showing the systematic exploitation of a vulnerable woman. Dr. Patel testified. Mrs. Porter had moderate dementia by August. She couldn't manage her medication schedule, frequently became disoriented, and required supervision for basic activities. I would not have considered her capable of complex legal or financial decisions. The witnesses from the lawyer's office who'd signed the will testified. Mrs. Montgomery brought her mother in. The elderly woman seemed confused. She asked where she was several times. But Mrs. Montgomery assured us everything was fine. One of them, a young paralegal, added quietly, I felt uncomfortable, but it wasn't my place to question. Vanessa took the stand in a cream-colored suit that probably cost more than my rent. She was composed, articulate, sympathetic. My mother knew her mind, she said. She wanted to take care of me and my children. Natalie chose to be a caregiver. That was her decision. Mom appreciated it, but she made her own choices about her estate. Rachel approached slowly. Mrs. Montgomery, you mentioned your mother knew her mind. Did she know your children's names? Of course. According to your daughter's Instagram, she posted on her birthday tagging your mother. Thanks for the birthday call, Grandma. The date was August 15th, 3 days after you had your mother sign the will. But phone records show no call was made. Did your mother actually call? Vanessa faltered. Emma must have been mistaken. Or you coached your daughter to post something that would make it seem your mother was more coherent than she was. Creating a false digital record of competency. Isn't that right? No, You needed people to believe your mother was fine. Because if anyone knew how bad she really was, they'd question every document you'd had her sign, every transfer, every change. That's not... Your sister was there every day. She saw the truth. So you had to make sure the paperwork was done before anyone could stop you. You had to steal it all before she noticed. Objection. Bernard stood. Counsel is testifying. I'll rephrase, Rachel said calmly. Mrs. Montgomery, how much money did you transfer from your mother's accounts in the 6 months before she died? Vanessa's hands clenched. $127,000. And how much had you transferred in the 5 years before that? Silence. The answer is $400,000. Over $500,000 systematically moved while your sister worked full-time as a caregiver for no pay. Does that seem fair to you? Mom wanted to help me. Mom didn't know what day it was. The verdict came on a Thursday. The judge was a woman in her 60s with sharp eyes and zero patience for lies. Having reviewed the evidence, I find clear and convincing proof that Margaret Porter lacked testamentary capacity when the will was executed. Furthermore, the pattern of financial transfers demonstrates undue influence and exploitation of a vulnerable adult. The will dated August 12th is hereby declared invalid. The estate will be distributed according to the prior will, which divided assets equally between both daughters. She paused, looking directly at Vanessa. I'm also referring this matter to the district attorney's office for investigation of potential elder abuse and fraud. Vanessa's face crumbled. Not dramatically, just slowly, like watching a building collapse in slow motion. Outside the courthouse, reporters waited. Apparently, elder abuse cases made good news when enough money was involved. I pushed past them, head down, desperate for air that didn't smell like justice and devastation. Rachel caught up with me on the steps. You won. I know. The estate will be split. You'll get approximately $445,000 after legal fees and expenses, plus half the house value if you decide to sell. $445,000. 6 years of my life valued at roughly $74,000 per year, less than I'd made at my old job. And Vanessa? She'll likely face charges. Best case, she pays restitution and gets probation. Worst case, 2 to 5 years. I should have felt triumphant. Instead, I felt hollowed out. Victory tastes different than you imagine when you're drowning. That night, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Natalie. Vanessa's voice was small, childlike. Please, the DA wants to prosecute. I could go to prison. My kids should have thought of that before you committed fraud. I'm sorry. I was desperate. Marcus's business failed. We were drowning in debt. So you stole from your dying mother. From the money. Not from her. She didn't need it anymore. The logic was so broken it almost made me laugh. She didn't need it because she was dying? That's your defense? I'm begging you. Tell them you don't want to press charges. They'll listen to you. Why should I? Because I'm your sister. The word hung there, fragile and ridiculous. Sister. Like that meant something after everything. You called me your sister, I said slowly. While you were erasing me from Mom's will? While you were stealing from her accounts? While I was there every single day watching her die? Did sister mean anything then? Crying now. Real or performed, I couldn't tell anymore. Please. I made a mistake. You made 50 mistakes. Over 6 years. That's not a mistake. That's a choice. I hung up. The phone rang again. I turned it off. 6 months later, everything looks different. The settlement came through. I used part of it to pay Rachel's fees, part for a down payment on a small house, part for the savings account I'd emptied caring for Mom. Vanessa pleaded guilty to elder financial abuse and fraud. She got 18 months in a minimum security facility and 5 years probation. Her husband filed for divorce. The house sold. The kids went to live with their father. I could feel sorry for her. Sometimes I almost do. Then I remember the bedpans, the sleepless nights, the way Mom's hand felt in mine when she forgot everything, except that she was supposed to hold on. The grief counselor I started seeing asks if I've found closure. I don't know how to explain that closure isn't real. There's just before and after. and learning to live in the after without destroying yourself over the before. Hazel's fox has become my version of that. Not a stuffed animal, but the understanding that some people will take everything if you let them. That love without boundaries is just sacrifice with better PR. I got a new job last month, research coordinator at a hospital. It's good work, meaningful work. I'm building something again, finally, for myself. Sometimes at night, I still hear Mom's voice. Not the confused end-stage version, but the woman she was before. "Take care of each other," she'd say, like that was possible. Like care was something Vanessa understood. I don't think she would have wanted this. The lawsuit, the trial, the criminal charges. She would have said family matters more than money. But Mom didn't understand that Vanessa had stopped being family somewhere between the first forged signature and the last stolen dollar. That family isn't who you're born to. It's who shows up, and I showed up. Every single day for 6 years. That has to count for something. The inheritance sits in my account now, careful and quiet. Blood money in a way, though not the kind people usually mean. It's what remains after someone tried to bleed you dry and failed. Some nights I dream about alternate versions. Ones where Vanessa was honest, where we split the caregiving, where Mom's final years didn't become a crime scene. But dreams don't change evidence. Don't change the signed documents or the medical records or the simple fact that when given the choice between doing right and doing well, my sister chose herself. So did I in the end. Maybe that makes me just like her. Or maybe it makes me someone who finally learned that sometimes the only person who'll save you is yourself. I visited Mom's grave last week. Someone had left flowers. Not Vanessa. She's not allowed contact per the restraining order. Probably a friend. Someone from her book club who remembered I didn't leave flowers. I left a letter I'd written and never sent. It said all the things I'd wanted to say, about sacrifice and recognition and the cost of being the good daughter. Then I walked away, feeling lighter than I had in years, not free, not healed, just lighter. Sometimes that's enough.